Daowatch episode 29, Bribes, Attacks, and Centralization. In this episode, we look at the old stalwart Dash, also known as the first on-chain treasury DAO ever. We then look at Compound on Ethereum, which has been attacked. Compound is the most forked DAO ever. We then move on to Cosmos. Cosmos is going to be integrating the best DAO tooling ever created. This is a real lineup, this episode. Then we move on to Arbitrum, arguably the most valuable DAO ever created. And Arbitrum are having a proposal to move their multisig from a dynamic bunch of multisigs into just the one multisig. Then we're going to look at Jupiter. Jupiter is a huge decentralized exchange on Solana. So we are looking at DAOs across all of the L1s plus one of the OG DAOs as well. This is Daowatch episode 29. We've been away, but we are back, baby. Bribes, attacks, centralizations. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Daowatch episode 29. I've been away for such a long time, but I've been busy doing Cryptosi DAO, Sunak, doing turbo trades, doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I've really missed this. So let's get busy. So the first of all, make sure you pick up your copy of the Ultimate DAO Handbook. It's a great read. Obviously, it's got 4.0 rating on Google, on Amazon, which means it's one of the best DAO handbooks ever created. But we've got the first proposal I really wanted to look at comes from Dash. Now, Dash recently passed a massive milestone where they have released finally the Dash platform. I am yet to use it. I am hoping that I will get to use it soon in some capacity or another. I've just know that they released it on mainnet, I believe, around 2 weeks ago. So congratulations to them. However, the Dash show must go on. And this proposal is to pay masternode owners who vote. So the general idea behind this proposal is that the masternode owners who vote are paid. So you get some kind of incentive to vote. At the moment, it looks like it's not going to pass 109 to 70. Actually, I'm not sure. That doesn't look like there's enough votes. It needs an additional 285 yes votes to be funded. It's been such a long time since I've even looked at Dash. Kind of forgotten how it works, which is one of the problems with DAOs. You have to kind of stay engaged, or I have to kind of stay engaged. Otherwise, you kind of lose sight of what's actually happening in what particular project. So this proposal, I think, it's a well put together proposal. Let's start with the pros, okay? The pros to the proposal is that what it's aiming to do is aiming to increase voter engagement. The logic behind it is that if more people vote, we're going to come to better decisions for the DAO and therefore better decisions for the project. The issue is that currently, I guess we have around 30% of masternode owners who do vote already, which for me that's fine. It's an okay number of votes. And also, we've had this same discussion for years and years and years, and this particular proposal doesn't actually bring anything new to the conversation. It says what the effects would be of having more people vote, which we kind of have always known how to get more people to vote is another thing. And the real question is, how much more effective would the DAO be if more people voted? In traditional companies, traditional corporations, where you have shareholders, which is the most alike thing, or the nearest comparison we can have to DAOs, you would be lucky if you get more than 25% of shareholders actually vote, and they wouldn't vote every single month. So increased quality of proposals, increased governance participation. If more masternode owners get paid to vote, you will see them ask questions. This is not actually how it works. I can't remember the name of the DAO which has already done it, but we have had DAOs before where if you don't vote, you get paid less. One of them we will look at later, which is actually Jupiter. And what ends up happening is that people just vote. You can easily game it. You set your client to vote one way or another all the time. So you might just say, just vote no on everything, unless I come and tell you otherwise. Just so that you make sure that you're collecting the most money for running this, for running your masternode. Restored value of Dash over time as proposals become more effective. The Dash value will rise. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I want to race through all of these because I want to get through actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 proposals in this show, and I want to keep it under 25 minutes. So, like I said, the cons for this are the discussion has been had for years. Proposals not really bringing up anything new. For me personally, I'm going to continue to vote no on this proposal. The reason why is because for me, I feel that if you want more interactions or engagement in governance, it's not necessarily at the voting stage. It's often at the discussion stage. That's where you'll probably find the most bang for your buck, which would mean incentivizing content creators like myself to create content around the governance and people to discuss the governance. So having things like town halls or Twitter spaces or things like that, where people can come and discuss the pros and cons of various different sides of each particular argument, or get to speak to proposal owners and get a better idea for the person putting forward the proposal, the team putting forward the proposal, what they really want, how they handle discussions. Very similar to, I guess, politics, where you have debates here and there. So for me, this one is going to be a no vote. I just think there are better ways to incentivize. There are better ways to incentivize more engagement, and also I feel like simply paying masternode owners will not get the desired effect. Of course, the amount of people voting might go up, but whether or not they pay more attention, I don't think that would be the case. But I do appreciate the proposal. I do think the discussion should continue. I would like to see that be maybe some fresher ideas on how to get more people to vote. There was one part about this that I didn't really like. It was quite, you made a better argument. So I think Tante agrees with me. You made a better argument this time, but I still think this crowd's voted not to spend so masternode owners receive the reward. However, I won't decide yet. On it. I appreciate your passion to fix something. Yes. Okay. Yep. So that one's a no for me. The next one, project I wanted to tackle or cover was Compound. Now, Compound, this was a very interesting thing. I don't know if I'll be able to do it justice. If I cannot, there was a Twitter Spaces featuring Dr. Nick, who is a DAO guy. I will put a link to that in the description and you can go and watch that. But basically, it's said that Compound has been attacked. So the DAO was attacked by a particular actor named Thumpy. somehow managing to rally up enough votes to get this particular proposal passed that will give him and his group, the Golden Boys, enough comp tokens for them to start doing some kind of yield-bearing chicanery. Now, the problem is that with these added comp tokens, they would have been in a position to pretty much pass any proposal that they wanted to. People had labeled it as an attack. I don't label it as an attack, and here is why. If it was an attack, the attack had succeeded. The guy had pretty much won. The only way for them not to do it was for them to undermine the entire governance space, which is actually what they did, and not allow the votes to stand, and then change it so that there is some kind of extended vote because the powerful few were not happy with what this powerful or even more powerful individual was able to accomplish. So we don't really know what this yield chicanery is, and to be honest with you, it's not really the main point about what's happened here. The main point about what's happened here is that somebody has managed to rally around enough tokens to put in a proposal that means that they get back even more tokens so that they become the most powerful entity within this whole thing. And Compound is not tiny. Compound is the OG DAO on Ethereum and all EVM chains. So most DAOs will use the Compound code when they're doing their DAOs for their voting, their online treasury management, let's say. So that proposal went through, and it was then quickly followed up by, if I can see it here, this proposal, which was for the precautionary transfer of the time lock admin. So this proposal would have put in place the centralization of the entire DAO, because a few people were not happy with the fact that the previous proposal had gone through. They think it's an attack. Whether you think it's an attack or not, I believe a DAO should honor what's happened. If you've been attacked, then, I guess it's too bad. Otherwise, what ends up happening, and this does happen a lot, is that if somebody doesn't like a proposal for whatever reason, they just call it an attack. And then they go to the powerful few and say, well, we can't let this go through because it's an attack. They used to do it often in a DAO. I can't remember the name. In Decred, which was a crappy DAO. And they had a system whereby they had a spam filter, which meant that this one or two guys would say whether or not a proposal was even fit to be put forward or not fit to be put forward. I went and put forward a proposal and it wasn't fit to be put forward, simply because I guess they assumed I was a scammer because they didn't know me. That shouldn't be how DAOs work. Because then what happens is you have to get in on this get-along gang with these 4 or 5 North Americans. If you're not in the get-along gang, you can't put in a proposal. You don't have a DAO. You know what I mean? So that's that. Let's look at the pros and the cons of the Compound situation. The good thing about it is that it seems to have, I missed the point. So when they decided that they were going to, if I can find it, cancel the proposal which had gone through, which I can't find now. Yeah. What happened was the guy who won, Humpy, and some of the guys in some small cabal within Compound, they came to an agreement that they wouldn't do this yield-bearing thing. They would move it, and they would do it in another way, whereby it wasn't under control of the so-called Golden Boys. It was under control of some other group, which was acceptable to the Compound higher-ups, let's say. During all of this, there are some huge American firms who could have voted and could have stopped it. I want to say A16Z, some of these other venture capital firms who are quite heavily into Compound, but they didn't because they're scared. They're scared that if they vote on something that's it will make them liable for whatever the DAO turns around and does. So they don't vote on things, which makes it easier for the DAO to be attacked. Now, what they really need to do is find some sort of way to delegate their votes to somebody who they can trust to vote in the case that there is something that looks like an attack, and only in the case that there's something that looks like an attack. And they have to put out, I guess, some kind of definitions on what they believe an attack to be. And it has to be reasonable legally in the American system. I know they have a slightly different system to us here in the UK, but they need to grow some balls and, they need to sort their lives out, because them not participating has made Compound very weak. So the cons, the main con is that there's nothing has been changed in Compound to stop this happening again in the future. So if me and a few of my buddies want to go and take out a couple of million, a high couple of million at this point, to come and attack the Compound DAO, they will be in the same position again, where they will have to subvert their own or co-opt or centralize their own DAO to stop somebody who's launching a so-called attack. I think Compound has some very big problems at play here, and there is absolutely no desire for them to solve said problems. Yeah, so let's move on. Cosmos. Now, this one is a really nice one. This one makes me very excited. I'm going to have to race for it, though. So Cosmos is going to get DAODAO. It's going to happen in, I believe, 2 days from now. Yes, I've got it written in my diary as Cosmos DAODAO Day, and it's on Friday. So this video should be released on Wednesday. By Friday, Cosmos should have DAODAO. Now, I think DAODAO will breathe new life into Cosmos, particularly if it allows users to launch their own tokens on Cosmos and have DAOs behind them. So I don't know which will be the first meme DAO on Cosmos, but whichever one it is, it should get quite a lot of support. I will be there, definitely. And I think it's just very exciting to have what I would consider to be the strongest DAO tooling, the best DAO tooling in the entire industry on Cosmos. I think that is great news for Cosmos. I think it's a bigger deal than shared security, possibly. A bigger deal than shared security, because I think it will see usage on Cosmos chain rocket. So not financial advice, but on the back of this downturn, if you want to pick up some Cosmos, now is probably as good a time as any. So the proposal is really just for them to put through DAODAO. If you don't know what DAODAO is, I will quickly show you. DAODAO is this software here where you can launch your own DAO. It doesn't take long. You don't need no code or anything like that. And you can launch your DAO across a bunch of different chains. I'm not going to go into this now. I should make another tutorial on how to use DAODAO. Actually, that would be a good idea. But today's just not the day. So for me, which way am I voting on this? I have already voted yes with all of my wallets. I extremely excited for DAODAO to come to Cosmos. The proposal itself, I read it, but it didn't matter. As soon as I saw it, I was super excited. If you've been in Cosmos and you don't know what DAODAO is, it's understandable, but now is your chance to find out. It really is a great piece of kit. And it's a no-brainer. I know that's a term that's overused, but it really is a no-brainer for me. Mobile friendly, proposal inbox. It's just great. It's just great. Okay, so that one's a yes from me quite easily. I can't think of any cons. It just makes Cosmos a wholly better. One of crypto's killer apps is coming to Cosmos. So on to the next proposal, which is the second to last proposal. And it is, this one is a bit of a political one. Arbitrum Multisig Support Service. Now, the idea behind this proposal is that instead of having various multisigs for various endeavors, there will just be one multisig support service for all of the endeavors to use. So let's just put all the eggs in one basket, shall we? Now, currently this looks like it is passing by a landslide, which I feel says more about the lack of diverse opinions within Arbitrum, and also the fact that I'm not sure if this is finished or not. Where can I see? Where can I see? Oh, it hasn't reached the quorum, it looks like. It looks like it hasn't reached the quorum. But 99.8% yes, hardly any no's, which is interesting, because I don't like it. Now, there may be something I'm missing, but I don't like the idea of loads of people using the same multisig. I think you should have various multisigs. Now, the arguments that they put forward are very good. The issue is they don't provide a balance. So it's clear that what they're trying to do is get to this service, as opposed to ask the question of whether or not we should have the service. So a better proposal would have been, here are our two options: have the service or don't have the service. If we have the service, we get A, B, and C. If we don't have the service, we get X, Y, and Z. But they haven't actually done that. So what they've said is that we've got this multi-sig service. Obviously, there will be a link to this in the description below. And it kind of shows how much it's costing. So how many transactions the multi-sig is making for all of these various funds, let's say, and how much these signers are being paid. And then, and this is excellent. And then in here, there's a entire chart or table of who's being paid what, where there's this guy Limes right at the top who's getting $14,000 to sign stuff. He's in the ADPC, he's in the STIP, he's in the STIP back fund, and he's in the LTIP. And for doing those signing across those four funds, he's getting $14,000 a month, which is crazy. I don't know if it's a month, actually. This might be half a year or a year. I don't think it's a month. I think it's 6 months. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's say it's 6 months. So what they're saying is that doing this will cut costs, and they are right. The issue is doing this does make the all of the funds so much more at risk. It really centralizes things, which I know is something that people always point at with Arbitrum. No, it's centralized, and it looks as if they're not really understanding that making this move will make it more centralized. For me, it's the wrong thing to do. I feel like if these numbers are too high and you're spending too much money, what you should do is slash it by 90%. Instead of paying these guys 6,000, just pay them 600. Chances are, for most of these people doing this signing, the money isn't the main reason why they're doing the signing anyway. So even if you put it from 6,000 down to 600, they would probably still complete the signing process that they're supposed to be completed. This is a proposed solution. I don't like that it doesn't have any counter arguments. counter arguments would have been had within the forums, but not everybody has time to check the forums. So I believe the counter arguments should be added here, but they weren't. And conflict of interest policy. I don't see how you can have one when you're going to have the same 6 people sign in over and over again. Removal of MSS members. So anybody can propose a snapshot to remove a member. Or the members can remove each other. Clawback capability, token flow reporting, etc., yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's wrap up on that one, because it's a very well done proposal. So brilliant, well done proposal, beautifully crafted. All the information is here. It is a little bit one-sided, but these people are trying to get something done as opposed to continue to have the discussion. I would have liked them to present both sides to give voters a fair representation. I feel the fact that it's 99.8% is not a good sign for the current health of the Arbitrum DAO. I would have liked to have seen a lot more people vote no on this. I would have voted no if I had skin in the game, which I don't as of yet. I think I do have ARB, but I don't vote with it. So I think that they are trying to save money, and I think they're doing it at the cost of centralization. I think it's the wrong move. And I may be wrong. I may have missed something. There may be some angle to this that I've not seen whereby I could be tempted to change my mind. But if I'm seeing something wrong, why isn't anyone else seeing it the way I'm seeing it? Because the way I'm seeing it makes sense, right? You've just heard my logic to this. So what they're assuming is that they will be saving 60%, what it looks like, which can't be sniffed at. So 600,000 ARB to fund approximately 1+ year of multisig budget for the DAO. So 600,000 ARB. I think ARB is, well, I'm thinking at the moment. I'm just going to do some. ARB is 50 cents, $300,000 to pay for multisig for a year. Seems like, yeah, here we go. 300,000 a year. That's correct. Okay. Yeah. So for me, this one would be a no. I don't like the centralizing factor. I would rather the DAO kept on hemorrhaging money, and people really started to pay attention to these sign-in fees because they're wild. And also, I believe that this is another example of not having content around the governance, which would raise and highlight these issues and allow people to put in proposals, have them shot down because sign-in fees are too high. So that's that. And let's move on now to the final proposal. And I'm going to rush over this one because this is Jupiter. Now, I really like Jupiter. We haven't ever covered Jupiter before. We've covered all the others before. We've never covered Jupiter before. Now, Jupiter is on Solana. So today we've had Cosmos, Solana, Ethereum, and OG Legacy Dash. So we've gone literally across this spectrum of L1s. Jupiter has a very novel governance platform whereby the votes themselves only seem to last 3 days. So you really have to be paying attention. Now, initially I really didn't like this system, but what it does do is force you to continue to check, because in a 3-day period, I may be away. I may not check the Jupiter governance every 3 days. I mean, who's got time for that? There is no alert system or any way for it to ping your phone to let you know that there's a new vote on a DAO that you're interested in. So that's one of the drawbacks. On another drawback is that they actually have implemented a system where you need to vote, and the more you vote, the more you're paid. You have to stake your tokens, which you stake up here, and they give you voting power. And there's a short unlock period and things like that. But overall, it's very nice. The interface is very nice. So they had this proposal anyway. This proposal was to reduce the supply of the Duke tokens. Now, the Duke tokens are used for all sorts of things. You can use them for to provide liquidity on their decks, to provide liquidity on their perps exchange, and obviously for governance. Governance has its own, launchpad, whereby you can vote on which projects should get launched or should get funded. And in return for voting on which projects, you get a small share of the projects that are funded. It's nice. I've done it, and it's worth it. You feel nice because you're actually getting paid for choosing which projects you want to fund. And they recently, I believe, added a system where you couldn't see how the vote was doing. I think they added that. Not sure. If they didn't, then they will. So anyway, so they want to remove 30% of the token supply. The price pump probably more than they've ever imagined. Duke is in the top 100. It's doing extremely well. It was released when Solana was dying. Solana decided not to die, and so Jupiter has become a behemoth. Their token supply is now too big, and they want to reduce it because they don't need to spend these tokens and dump the price. They want to just eradicate them, shrink the price, shrink the supply, which will, as we all know, expand the price. Shrink the supply and raise the price. That's usually the way it goes, right? So everybody's voted yes for this, including me. Even the team will voluntarily cut 30% from their assigned allocation. So everybody loses 30%, not just 30% from the DAO proper, the actual treasury, but 30% from everywhere. Every single place that has these tokens will take a 30% haircut. Apart from, obviously, if it's in your own wallet. Now, you can view the full proposal. I will put a link to it, obviously, in the description below. It did succeed. It hasn't been queued or executed yet, but should give it a nice bump in the price. So for me, it was a really nice proposal, nice and simple. 3 billion Dupe will be burnt, and it's brilliant news for anybody holding Jupiter. And on that note, that'll be all she wrote from me. Make sure you go and get your Ultimate DAO handbook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links will be down below. Join the Discord. Enjoy DAO stuff. If there is anything you feel I should have discussed about any of these projects, or anything you feel I've maybe not discussed properly, let me know. If there's any DAOs you want featured, let me know. Or if you'd like to sponsor the show, let me know. So thanks for watching. I've been Cryptosi. You've been beautiful. This was Daowatch episode 29. After a long break, but I am back in business. So we are back, baby. And I will see you in the next one. Hopefully in 2 short weeks' time. Thank you very much.